Hello guys, welcome back. In today's Microsoft Excel for the VBA video, we are going to see a very important feature that is used to protect your data from unauthorized usage. So this feature is basically the hide and unhide feature in the worksheets. And why do we need to use this feature? The reason being that we have already covered about hiding and unhiding the cells. So the same thing applies to actually the sheets as well. Suppose you are having your workbook and you want multiple people to access this workbook, the same workbook, but you do not want the same data to be visible to all people. Suppose you have a single workbook that includes the records for the HR department, for the finance department, for the logistics department, etc. You do not want the HR department to know about the data of the logistics department, and you do not want logistics department to know about the data of the HR department, but all the data is in the same workbook. And when you show the workbook to the HR department, you need to make some settings that all the sheets of the logistics department or the finance department are hidden from the HR department, and similarly for the logistics department you want them to only show the sheets of the logistics department only. So this feature of hiding and unhiding sheets is what comes into play. Now we have a collection of sheets over here. Suppose we want to hide any sheet, you can simply go to that particular sheet, right click over here, and there is this option to hide it. Once you click on that, your sheet is hidden, and you right click over here, you cannot find that sheet over here. Okay, so that's how you can hide the sheets actually. Okay, so that was a simple method, but what if you want to do the same thing using the macros, using the Visual Basic Code? Then how can you go with it? Similarly, that's what actually we are going to see today. So simply, you know that you first need to open the VBA editor by using the shortcut Alt F11. Once you've got that, go to the insert menu and insert a new module. Now its name you need to change to something meaningful, so let's change to hide sheets. Okay, because that's something meaningful. And when we just open it in the code pane, let us provide it with a sub procedure and the name, which is going to be ultimately the name of our macro. So hide sheets, open and close parenthesis, and end sub would be added automatically by VB. Now when we need to hide the sheets, first of all we need to refer to that particular sheet which we want to hide. Suppose RA named sheet is what I want to hide. So how can I go with it? Use the worksheets function. Why we are using this worksheets function? Because we need to refer to a particular sheet. Now we are referring to that particular sheet using the sheet name. So let's just use the sheet name as RA named space sheet. Okay, then since we are using name, which is a string property, we use the double quotes. When you have written this, then you can put a dot, and you can use a property known as visible. Now there are two possible values for this visible property. The first value is true. If we just set it to true, then nothing would happen, no change would happen, because it is right now visible. So in order to hide it, we need to set the visible property to false, and when something is already hidden, then to unhide it we need to use the value of the visible property as true. So first we need to hide this sheet, so let us just use the visible value as false, so that it is not visible to us anymore. Okay, so this is what our code is, and that's our sheet. If we just run this piece of code, you can see after custom name we have got custom sheet 2, and if we just right click over here, you cannot find the sheet as RA named sheet anywhere. Okay, so to bring it back, we need to set its property as true, and if we just execute this piece of code, then this sheet is now visible at wherever its previous position was, that was before custom sheet 2. You can see over here that it is visible now. Okay, now we already have a sheet known as rename sheet that we just hid using the Microsoft Excel without using the VB code. So let us just bring it back as well. We can just run it, and you can see rename sheet is also present. If we just right click over here, yes, rename sheet is present. So that's how you can hide and unhide the sheets simply in Microsoft Excel, and that was a very simple example. So that was actually one method, but there is another method that instead of this name for the worksheets function, you can also provide it with like the index of the worksheet function. Okay, so let us just clear up this piece of code. If you want to refer to any sheet using the index, then you need to provide it worksheets is the name of the function. Within parenthesis, you need to provide its index, that we all know. So just right click over here to find out the index whose sheet you want to hide. I want to hide custom name, and its index is 4. Okay, so let us just provide an index of 4. So that's how we can refer to our sheet. And now the property that we are going to access is the visible property. So let's set visible equals false. Now custom name is right now visible, but if we set its value to false, then what happens is that you can see custom name is no longer visible. You can just right click over here, and you can see custom name is no longer visible over here. Now right now what we can see from this particular data or this particular list is rename sheet is present at the index 4. So if we just run this piece of code again, then what happens is you can actually select hide sheets macro from here, and you can run it. Then you can see that nothing happens. Rename sheet is not hidden. The reason being, we are seeing this list, but actually what is happening in the background is custom name is the name of the sheet which is present at the position 4. So if you again provide this piece of code, then nothing would happen. Okay, but if you just change its value to a true, then what would happen is, and you just run it, custom name was the name of the sheet, and it is now visible again. It is again present back at its position, that is position number 4. Now once we have hidden our sheet, and now we can easily work with hiding and unhiding the sheets. The next thing that is important is, what if you have hundreds of sheets and you want to move your cursor to a particular sheet, you want to activate a particular sheet. Then to activate a sheet, what you can do is just toggle over here like this, and you would be able to activate any particular sheet. But there are, if a number of sheets, you can just increase its length over here from here, and you would be able to just access more sheets. What if you have more than the sheets which can come over here? So you can just right click over here, and you will get this menu which is actually the activate sheet menu, and using this activate sheet menu you can activate any particular sheet. But it is also possible if there are a limited number of sheets. Suppose in your workbook you have like 500 sheets or 100 sheets, then how can you work with it? Okay, so for that purpose we have a function in Microsoft Excel, and this function is known as the activate sheets function. Now we have already seen it in the cells, that how can we activate cells or how can we select cells. So using this function we can actually activate or select a particular sheet in Microsoft Excel as well. So let us see that how can we use it. So instead of the visible property, we are going to use another property that is known as activate. So worksheets 4, that is whatever the worksheet is present, whichever worksheet is present at the index 4, you need to activate it. So the sheet is custom name, and we need to activate this custom name sheet. If we just run it, then custom name sheet is now activated. So that was using the index. But what if instead of the index you need to provide the name of the sheet? The name of the sheet that we need to activate right now is sheet 1. So if we just provide this piece of code, then what will Visual Basic do if we just run it is, currently we have a sheet 1 activated and our cursor is in sheet 1. If we just right click, then in this activate list also we have got this sheet 1, which means sheet 1 is activated right now. There is another method to activate the sheet. Instead of activate function, you can use the select function, and let's just change the sheet name to say sheet 2, and when we run it, you see sheet 2 is activated. And if you just right click over here, then again in the activate list you can get this sheet 2 is activated. So that is all on how you can activate the sheets. How can you select a particular sheet using the VB, how can you hide or unhide the sheets. So that's all for the video. Thanks for watching.